Chapter 5 3 Rules for Billy Bismo. I'm sound asleep when the bully bangers invade my cube. Spaz boy, wake up! The bangers are kicking through my stuff, checking out all the goodies. One of them is pawing the edibles the proof girl gave me when Billy Bismo smacks him. Leave it, Billy says, grinning at me. You with us, Spaz boy? You with us or against us? I'm with you, I say, trying to get my brain in gear. I've been deep inside this crazy, confusing dream about Coley Riggins rescuing the proof girl, or maybe the proof girl was rescuing him. Doesn't matter. What matters is paying attention to Billy Bismo, because you never know what Billy is really thinking, and that's just one of about 1,000 different things that makes him dangerous. Billy, with his sharp, crooked nose and curly hair like tufts of rusty iron, and his ratty yellow teeth, and the pale scars on his neck and jaw where somebody tried to kill him once and missed. Somebody no longer among the living, guaranteed. This junk come from the stacks, he asks me, even though he already knows the answer. That's all he had, and one they called Ryder. You sure he's not hiding something rich? Nothing special? He's just an old gummy, I say. That's all he had. I can't believe I'm lying to Billy Bismo, boss man of the bangers. What do I care about the old man or a stupid pile of papers? But it's too late to take back the lie, and anyhow Billy seems more interested in the edibles. Explain, he says, holding up a carbo shake. So I tell him about the proof girl, how she came to the Maxi with her techs and told them to provide for me. Provide for you? Billy says, fingering the scars on his neck as he mulls it over. Why you, boy? Why you in particular? I shrug. I was there, I guess. You mean this proof girl was looking for a charity case? I don't know what a charity case is, Billy. Never mind. What did you say to her? Tell me exactly what you said. She asked me what they call me. I told her. And that's it? Your name? That's it. Billy crouches so he can study my eyes and see if I'm lying. That always makes me feel like I'm lying, even when I'm telling the truth. Which I am about the proof girl. The thing that makes Billy scary isn't his size, because he's not that much bigger than me. It's in his eyes. Sometimes his eyes are bright and interested, and that makes you want to please him, and then he blinks and his eyes are dead, and you're scared he wants to make you dead too, just for the cool of it, just because he can. He goes, I've heard about this proof girl. She's a slummer. You know what a slummer is, Spaz, huh? No, I admit. A slummer is a proof who likes to mix with the rest of us. Gives them a thrill they can't find in Eden. You know what happens to a normal who gets mixed up with a proof if the rest of the proof finds out? No. Billy makes a slicing sign across his throat. The idea seems to amuse him. Forbidden, Spaz boy. They'll splash you. They'll cut your red. They'll blow you into particles. So keep away from the proof girl. You see her again, run like your life depends on it. Because it does. Do you believe me? Yes. Good boy. Always believe Billy. That's rule number 1. And what's rule number 2? Always obey Billy, I say. Excellent. Third rule? Always speak true to Billy. Fantastic. He's acting delighted with me, but I don't know if it's for real or a game he's playing. Not bad for a Spaz boy. Keep it up, kid. Follow Billy's rules, and you may live to be as old as that gummy you ripped off. He hands me the proof girl's carbo shake. Go on, he says. Enjoy. Have a taste of Eden. A moment later, they're gone, and I'm alone in my cube. For some reason, I'm shaking. No, not for some reason, because I lied to Billy Bismo. I broke his rules. If he finds out, he might decide to have me canceled, or he might decide to let me live but ban me from the crypts. Disfavor, they call it, which means you're on the curb, fending for yourself without protection or shelter. Death or disfavor. I don't know which is worse, and I don't want to find out. Chapter 6. The thing about Bean. Later that day, I go back to the stacks. My plan is I'll finish ripping off the old gummy and take his worthless papers, the junk he calls a book, and give it to Billy Bismo, like I should have done in the first place. That's my plan, but in the end it doesn't work out that way. This time Littleface pops up as soon as he sees me coming. Chuck's bar, he chirps, holding out his dirt-colored hands. I go, you know any other words, huh? He shakes his head. Chucks! Chucks! I get one out of my pouch and give it to him, and he gulps it down and holds out his hands again. You know the way, I tell him. Take me to Ryder, then you get another Chalks bar. So Littleface guides me through the rows of stack boxes like before, only this time the old gummy is standing in the door waiting for me. Don't be surprised, he says with a smile. Bad news travels fast in this parts of the world. I don't know why, but that hits me hard, the idea that I'm bad news. Of course it's true, me coming back to the stacks is bad news. What else could it be? But he looks so hopeful, like he's sure I'll prove him wrong, that my plan to rip him off again goes right out the back of my head. Not today, I'm thinking. I'll steal his stupid book some other day. Come on in, Ryder says, stepping to one side. Make yourself at home. He's got this look in his watery old gray eyes, like he knows something I don't, but for some reason that doesn't make me mad. It just makes me want to know too. But what is it he knows? He sees the look on my face and goes, Something happened. Is it the bangers? Have they canceled me? I shake my head. Not yet. Not yet, he says, sounding real thoughtful. Thank you for being honest with me. If you'd said nothing to worry about, I'd know it wasn't the truth. And I always want to know the truth. Right, I'm thinking, just like Billy Bismo. Inside it's cool and shadowy, and of course there's no furniture, so I sit on the floor with my legs crossed. The old geese sits on the crate box he uses for a desk. The way light comes in, I can't see his face, and his baggy old one piece makes him look thin and shapeless at the same time, like he's lost inside his clothes. I've been thinking about you, Ryder says, about your story. I told you, I said, I don't have a story. His head turns and now I can see his eyes, how big and old and kind they are. What you're really saying is, you don't have a story worth telling, he says. Let me be the judge of that. I want to stand up and shout that he's got no right to tell me what I really mean, what makes him think he knows so much. But instead I sit there and keep my mouth shut, maybe because underneath it all I know what he says is true. Start at the beginning, he suggests. What's the first thing you remember? The first thing? That's easy. The first thing is when I got my little sister, Bean. The thing about Bean is, she isn't really my sister. We're not blood, but I didn't know that then, because I didn't know that Kay and Charlie weren't my real mother and father. All of that came later when I started to grow, but when Bean came along, I was maybe 4 years old. And that's the first thing I remember. This tiny, wiggy little face wrapped in a soft blanket, her squinty eyes and her tiny little lips all smooched up like she'd been sucking a lemon. How she smelled like warm milk and baby stuff. She was only a few days old, okay? But what I really remember is what happened when she saw me staring down at her. Her whole face smiled and her little hand came up and tried to grab my nose, and that was it. I loved Bean right from that moment, and it never changed. No matter what happened, all the bad things later, and me losing my family unit because of her, it never made me love Bean any less. So you are a foundling, Ryder says, and Bean is your adoptive sister. Foundling? An old word, he says, but useful. Like you were found on the curb and taken in. Do you have any knowledge of your origins? Your birth mother? Father? I shrug, like, who cares? Because it doesn't matter. Nobody wants to claim a Spaz boy, that's for sure. Never mind that part for now, Ryder says. Tell me more about your sister. Tell me about Bean. The thing that's really important to understand about Bean is that she only sees the good in people, and never the bad. Because my foster dad, I suppose he's basically okay, but he's got this bad side too, and Bean never saw it. Like she'd erase the idea of bad from her mind. So when everything blew up and Charlie, that's his name, Charlie, so when everything blew and Charlie got it fixed in his head that I was growing up dangerous and that somehow Bean might get infected with whatever it was that made me a Spaz, Bean never saw it coming. When Charlie finally told me I had to leave, that he was banning me from the family unit, Bean tried to hug me and tell me it couldn't be true. He didn't mean it. Big mistake. Because Charlie pulled her off me and smacked her right in the face and called her terrible names. Names she didn't even understand. Names no one should ever have to hear. What did Charlie think? Ryder wants to know. Did he think you and Bean were love mates? I don't know what he thought, I said. I'd never touch Bean that way, not ever. Even if she isn't blood, she's still my little sister. Ryder watches me for a while, like he's waiting for something to happen, for me to react, maybe. And then, when I don't say anything more, he goes, I wish I could say I'm surprised by your foster father's reaction, but the prejudice against epileptics is as old as the human race. Do you know the story of Alexander the Great? I shake my head. Remarkable man, Ryder says. He conquered the world a long, long time ago. Yeah, I go, so? He had epilepsy too. Many great humans have been epileptic. It's as if the brain compensates by increasing intelligence and ambition. Yeah, right. The epilepsy is part of what made you, he says. Don't hate it. Don't hate the Spaz. Is he serious? The Spaz is why I lost my family unit, why I can never see Bean again, why people run away when it happens. Spaz isn't just a name, it's a warning. Look out for the Spaz boy. He might have a fit and bite you. He'll infect you. He'll infect your unborn children. Cast him out. Banish him. Disfavor him. Cancel him, they sometimes whisper. The boy is a monster, a mistake. He never should have been born. But Ryder, he doesn't get it. You think of it as a curse, he says, but the curse is also a blessing. If you didn't have it, you'd be sticking needles in your brain like all the others, rotting your mind with probes, living in a mind probe instead of real life. You'd have trouble remembering what happened last week, never mind when you were 4 years old. You'd have forgotten all about your sister. Shut up, I say, holding my hands to my ears. Shut up. But the stupid gummy won't shut up. He's trying to tell me something important, even though I'm covering my ears and I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to think about who I am or what's wrong with me or why I'm out here on the edge of the herb, at the edge of the known world, listening to some old mope who's so crazy. He thinks about the future when everybody knows that the future doesn't exist. Shut up, I scream. Shut up! And then I'm running away, running as fast as my feet will take me, running until I can't hear him anymore, and the only word in my head is the word that never leaves. The word I hate the most. The word that means me. Spaz, spaz, spaz.